Madam Rajavi, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen who care an awful lot about Camp Ashraf. Next week, the United States celebrates the 220th anniversary of the adoption of the Bill of Rights to our Constitution, one of the greatest human rights documents in the history of the world. It allows for me to practice my faith, speak freely, to gather with people who share my concerns. It allows me to petition government. It allows for freedom of the press. That anniversary probably will not be celebrated very much in the United States, but it is something that would very much like to be celebrated in Camp Ashraf. Next week, President Obama will be meeting with the Prime Minister of Iraq. I pray that President Obama is not silent. I pray that he uses that First Amendment to the Constitution to express his opinion. I pray that he recognizes your gathering. I pray that he petitions the government of Iraq. And I pray that he is not silent, he is cognizant, and that he is courageous. Because you see, the United States has a disproportionate responsibility. The United States promised to protect the people of Camp Ashraf. The United States promised that the people of Camp Ashraf would have the Geneva protections of a protected people. The United States has an obligation to follow through on that promise, and it has a responsibility to make sure that Prime Minister al-Maliki fully understands the promise and that there are consequences if it's not kept. There are many reasons that the people of Camp Ashraf deserve to be protected. There are powerful people, not powerful by might, but powerful by example, by courage, by empowering women, by respecting rights, by inviting freedom, by allowing speech, by recognizing all faiths, by calling all people as having rights and benefits, not just a select few. The people of Camp Ashraf have demonstrated commitment. They overcame the cynicism of a U.S. government when we were skeptical of their commitment to be allies in the war on terror, when we were skeptical that they would not lay down their weapons. In fact, they turned them over. They overcame the skepticism of the United States, and the United States made a promise. The United States has an obligation to keep its promise. The United States also has an obligation to recognize, I think, a growing legal recognition that the MEK, the PMI, is not a terrorist organization. The courts in the United States have spoken and challenged the State Department to make the decision. And the decision is ripe. In fact, it's overripe. And it should be announced before Prime Minister al-Maliki meets with President Obama. And the State Department should say, the MEK is not a terrorist organization, and they should be delisted. So I don't want next week to be remembered as a week where America stood by with silence or acquiescence and caused human rights to be violated. Instead, I want next week to be a week where America celebrates the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, and the protected freedoms for the people of the MEK in Camp Ashraf. Thank you very, very much.